Now to a new report 3 years in the making, just out. Over $3 trillion of apparel sold annually. We're talking about this industry, and most of this apparel was purchased in America. Disposable fashion, summer sales, cool sneakers, low priced, yes, but there is a cost. Workers in countries like Malaysia forced to work to pay off large debts. Why? They owe agents, in part here, to get these very apparel jobs. In Malaysia, for instance, they pay large agent fees just to get there, to be able to work. Sometimes over $4,000, says nonprofit Transparentem, where the average monthly rural wage is about $500. That can mean months of free labor and a contract you can't get out of or face physical harm. Now, buying the goods made by these laborers in Malaysia, companies like Nike, Asics, Fruit of the Loom, Under Armour, and many more, which means you might be wearing a product made by slave labor in Malaysia right now. That's where Transparentem comes in. The nonprofit identifies crimes like forced labor in supply chains, the very way these pieces of clothing make it to you. It then tells these big brands, hey, there's a problem at this factory. If the company still buys from that bad factory, if the company stops buying, if the company tells a factory to change, all of that Transparentem watches and reports. I should point out that we did reach out to many of the companies on the list. Nike and Brooks Sports got back to us but did not want to discuss this report. Joining us now is the CEO of Transparentem, Ben Skinner. Ben, so it only took 3 years, and that's a lot of data, but you're a data guy. And when we look at this very issue of what some people call slaves or child laborers, poisoned workers even, do their hands, when we look at this, do they actually make the clothing that we wear?
Thanks, Richard. Yes, is the short answer. The longer answer is yes, but it's complicated and it's hidden, which is why we do what we do. We are fundamentally independent. We're supported by the general public and by foundations, and that allows us a lot of leeway to look where we think the worst problems are, to dig deep, to build out these investigations, and then, as you say, to go to the brands and retailers and give them a simple binary choice. Either understand what we're presenting to them, which is comprehensively vetted, rigorously reported, and act on it, or don't. One way or the other, we talk to their investors, the general public afterwards.
So I've got the report here. It's not light reading. It's pretty sizable here. You gave this to the brands. Many of them responded. Many of them said, we're going to do something about this.
Yeah, it was tremendously encouraging. One of the things that we feature is a video product that we bring in front of the C-suites of these brands. And that features the workers speaking in their own voices. These workers, in some cases, have had their lives completely ripped apart by traffickers who have put them into debt bondage. They're working in humiliating conditions, living in deplorable conditions, and in many cases, they can't walk away from their work without terrible consequences to them or their families. Several of these brands stepped up and they did the right thing. And I think that's what's incredibly important and exciting about this model, is that brands that control the spend can also control the solution.
So we can make decisions as consumers based on these sorts of reports that you are putting out to make better choices ourselves. Underline for me, could I be wearing something right now or day to day that is related to somebody who is in this very situation, a worker under very bad conditions?
The sad reality is yes. The even sadder reality is yes, and it's quite likely. The tough, difficult part of this is that it may not be in a direct manufacturer. It may be in child slaves in Uzbekistan or Tajikistan that are picking the cotton. It may be in textile mills. So it's incredibly important for all of us to ask questions of the companies that we buy from.
5 seconds. Things are getting better, Ben, or getting worse when it comes to this forced labor? Over 20 million people worldwide.
I have to tell you, I'm extremely excited by what I've seen in the last year of engagement with these brands, and I think there's a model for the future.
All right. Fantastic to have you. Ben Skinner, their CEO of Transparentem, and we'll be right back.